right, I finally got the parts in to repair my Echo PAS-2620 that had an appointment with a tree. I did temporarily put it back together with some JB welds in case I needed to use it. I didn't. That actually seemed to hold up pretty well. It's not something that I would want to rely upon, but in case I needed it, it was okay. But like I said, I wanted to order the correct parts to fix this. And the one thing that didn't hold up was this here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but just in that little bit that I just grabbed this and pushed on that with my thumb, like this plastic is super brittle. You know, again, I've had a few discussions about this this Echo thing with a couple people online. And, you know, Echo is great. It's been around for a long time. I used to be a huge Echo fan when I first started landscaping. This isn't dogging on Echo. They make a great product. They have a lot of great products. You know, I'm going to continue to use anything that I like from them. It's not anything personal against the company. All I'm talking about is this particular unit and its design, to me, is over-engineered. It's just more than it needed to be. In other words, yes, I had this in a green touch rack on the side of my trailer, and I rubbed up against the tree where the branch kind of like got caught in here, which allowed it to focus all of its energy going by the tree and basically broke this carburetor right off, the whole intake setup. You know, I don't know if you saw my previous video, but we're going to take it apart and you'll see the damage and what I did so far to replace it. So I just put it back together, like I said, just to try it out to make sure everything was all right. I did start it and run it for a little bit until this broke. And there's also another broken part in the trigger. So I want to show you exactly what happened over one branch. Now, again, this is sitting on the side of the trailer. A branch catches it and breaks this thing off. By this thing breaking off, which the only thing that's really holding it all together is these three plastic studs, okay? Here, here, and it's not, you know, these aren't thick studs. There's just basically a thin wall, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. So these three hold this whole unit with all these pieces, the carburetor, everything, onto the machine, and then there's this big gap. Like if they just designed this cover maybe to come over to here so nothing could, you know, kind of like they did on this side. See how it's all enclosed so nothing can get in and actually grab and pull? This is all wide open here. This is how it is. Like things can get caught under here. There's just so many areas to get caught on stuff when you're tossing this around and using it out in the field for something that's, you know, modern day, a piece of equipment. I would think that it would be a better design than that. For instance, this trigger, you see how it's solid? I love that. My Husky only has a piece of plastic kind of like that. So where my finger is all just open airspace. So what happens is something will get caught under there and it will break that off, you know? So this is nice that it's full and stout. There's no way for it to break. But unfortunately, part of the parts that I had to order was a replacement trigger. However this goes. Crap, is that the right one? Yeah, it goes that way. It's a replacement trigger, and you'll see where the cable, right here where the cable connects in, it broke this piece of plastic off when this happened. Okay, when this happened, it kind of caused a chain of events. It broke this. When this fell off, it pulled the cable, which broke inside here where the cable was connected. So it pulled that. It ripped out the little vent. Okay, so there's a vent that goes up under here. There's a little hole right here. Okay, so that vent along with its hose that goes down into the tank, gone. I don't know what happened to it. It got ripped off when this happened. You know, I drove down the road. I didn't realize it until, you know, a day or two or whatever later that this even happened. So these pieces were long gone. But so it broke this from pulling on the cable. It broke this, well, pulled it out and disappeared. So that's gone. So those are a couple of the parts that I ordered. I also, this is the trigger that I was talking about. That's this unit here. Okay, so the cable connects into this unit right here, and the rest of it is here. As I was saying, this is one, well, we can open it now. This is one whole piece. Okay, so this is where the cable goes in. And all that is just plastic, right? So and this is wide open. This cable, when it's connected here, is just kind of hanging out like that. So again, something hooks on it, crack, breaks this right off. you know? So, you know, I'm not saying this thing should be made out of titanium. I'm just saying I understand the need for plastic parts. I understand. But if there's going to be an area that might be troublesome, beef it up a little or pre-think it, okay? There should be a reason. This shouldn't happen, in my opinion, okay? So, again, this is this plastic piece here is what broke off. So the remainder of this is still on here from the old one. But what I was saying is this is all one piece. Look at this. It's like you can't replace just one little part. I thought maybe I could order just this plastic piece, but no. You know, it's like riveted or whatever in here. You can't take this apart. It's not designed to be serviceable in any way. And this is the whole trigger assembly, or the throttle assembly, you know, inside the hole in the carburetor to allow the air to go through. So this whole thing, as a matter of fact, I think I already, oh, there we go. Okay. That's how it works. So the cable comes through and pulls on that. But anyways, before this video ends up too long, that's another piece I had to buy. And then there was this. This is the main thing that failed, okay? And again, there's these 3 mounting spots. And the bolt, the screw actually holds right on there, way down inside there. So just that little lip, okay, the very end of this is bolted into the aluminum engine. So all it takes is that little thin piece of circular plastic right around this edge to break. Same thing with this one and this one, and that's what happened. And so luckily this is replaceable, right? So we got this piece, but look what it comes with. It comes with, now I looked up the parts kit, or the parts breakdown, and I ordered this little spacer because it showed it as part of it. And I'm not even sure which one of these it goes in yet. I'm hoping I can figure it out. But when this broke off, this spacer is gone. I don't know where it is, and like I said, I'm not sure exactly where it goes yet. I think it pops in there, or I'm not sure. But we'll figure that out. But in the parts breakdown, it wasn't clear that this came with this, and there's only one of them. Only one of these uses it. So I bought one also. I put it in this bag and opened it up before this camera started rolling. But so I have 2 of these. So I'm going to stick that aside for now because it did come with one as well. And it came with these pieces. Okay, now what this is just the metal screw that goes inside of here. Kind of like a captive nut. All right, and then there's these little circular pieces that go in. I believe they go in these 2. Not that one. You could see that's a smaller hole. And then there's these bigger holes here. So these slide in here. But when I first pulled this out of the package, I'm like, oh, okay, this just slides in there. That just slides in there. No biggie. Well, I'll tell you what, I've already played with this for a couple of minutes trying to get this in. And it's going to take some serious force to get that thing in there. I mean, I'm going to get it, but in these little collars, the same thing. It's like literally like they're too big. It's just not an easy. So I'm going to grab a pair of pliers, and it's got like a little split in it. Maybe if I compress it a little bit, it will slide in a little easier. But this is not an easy thing. Like all of this stuff, right? All of these pieces, and I think it was like $60 worth of parts. Plus all this time over just because one little branch accidentally grabbed and broke this off. To me, that's a weak point. I can understand, you know, it broke off the throttle cable, it broke a little plastic housing or something like that, but this friggin' pretty much almost totaled this whole unit. You know, if that happened to you and you were paying somebody to do this, they ordered the parts and the markup on the parts and the labor, you're going to pay way more than half what it would cost for a new power head. You know, for parts and labor, it wouldn't even be worth it for you to do. So, and you know, I'm not even 100% sure that this cable might not even be internally broken yet. I don't know. So we're going to put it all back together and we'll see. But yeah, that's in my opinion, I've never had to do this with any piece of equipment ever. You know, any piece of stick equipment, and this Echo, not a big fan. So, anyways, the rest of this video, we're just going to do a little montage, and we'll throw this, put it together just so you can kind of see what's involved, in case you're considering maybe taking something apart. Similar to this, you know, all Echo stick equipment is probably pretty much the same. You know, the power unit is for anything that you might need to repair. So we're just going to kind of set these parts aside here, and we're going to take it apart and have at it. Again, look at all these pieces. This piece, the carburetor with that piece, this piece with this piece, and all of this just to me seems too much for a simple air filter. All right, and here's the old unit here. Let's see where that broke off. So it looks like we're just going to need a Phillips screwdriver. And then this screw here is the adjustment for the idle, so we're going to have to readjust it. I'm also noticing there's a little metal spring clip here that didn't come on the new one. And what that does is holds the throttle cable end in. So we want to make sure we transfer that over. There we go. All right, let's get this apart. There's a little rubber O-ring right there for a seal. Does the new one come with that? Yeah, it appears to be on there. Yeah. Okay, good. At least it came with that. Pretty straightforward. Look how that just pulls up out of there. Oh, there's a little spring there to stop it from going up. Okay. But that's the smallest O-ring I've ever seen. How thin it is. But yeah, there's the other end of this piece here. All right, so let's get this old piece apart here. Looks like about a 10mm wrench. All this little clip does is blocks off the end where the cable slides in. Just to stop it from accidentally coming out of the slot. Okay, so there's that. Hopefully I got a good camera angle on this. Let's go ahead and get this plastic piece off that is kind of what broke and started this whole thing. All right, this little insert here. This little rubber boot. you can see the 3 spots that it screws into are into the aluminum, which is fine. This is kind of like just a rubber boot for the intake, you know, which is fine. And it's got this plastic housing that screws in to hold that, and it's flexible. So, I mean, I guess that's all right. But in my opinion, this, where it's mounted, should be something more stout than this. So we can see the threaded inserts right here. Okay, so those got to go in. And this is where it broke, actually. Yeah, see, I thought it broke down here. It actually broke up here. Just for the heck of it, let's see how strong this repair was. I used JB Weld. Not super strong. Probably would have broke again. But that's where it broke off originally. And then this piece also, just the very end of this piece broke off, so the screw was able to come through, and the same thing with this one here. But I want to take note, okay, so the metal insert is on the bottom 2 holes. So in the new one, it would be these 2. So let me see if I need to squeeze these a little bit with a pair of pliers, maybe to persuade them into the holes here. Yeah, that's just, maybe it goes in this way. See, to me, that's just pretty poorly designed parts, in my opinion. These replacement parts should fit together a little better than this. There we go. Well, that wasn't too bad, I guess. All right, so we got that one in. Same thing with the second one. That seems to be the best way to do it. Just use the screw and force them in. That's still not all the way in, but when we tighten up the screw, when we bolt it back on, they'll go in. All right. So now I got to figure out where, well, let's get these in. Use the screw. Trying to be careful. I certainly don't want to break the new plastic. All right. Not too much of a pain. So now what I need to do is find out, out of these 3 holes, which one it needs a spacer on. That's going to be tough with this intake. Almost got to put that on first. Hopefully I can sneak the spacer in afterwards. I want to be careful not to tear this rubber boot. I've already put more pressure on it than I want to. All right, that popped in. And what do we got here? All right, so top one seems to be touching good. That one right there seems to be touching good, so it's got to be that third one that needs the spacer. No, I can see in there. It appears to be this one that uses that spacer. Go ahead and put one of them screws in and see how that looks. It's hard to tell from the parts breakdown exactly where that spacer is supposed to go. But yeah, you can see down inside there, that's right up against it, and no, it's got to be the top. Again, like, why is there a spacer in here? What you know, what's the point in that? Is that because there's different models and some of them use the spacer and some of them don't? To me, why is it made that way? If you made this thing right from jump, why would you design it to need this little spacer? Another questionable design. All right, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's how it goes. You guys yelling at me at this? Just realized that goes in there. Forgot to put it back on. Do that in a minute. I watch a lot of channels. Musty One is one of the ones. Guy up in New Hampshire who kind of picks up a lot of roadside throwaway snow blowers and tractors and all kinds of cool stuff. And he does long videos similar to this to kind of get them running and put them back to life. Very entertaining. I enjoy doing that stuff. I watch him, you know, from start to finish. And a lot of times things will happen like that. As he's recording, I'll notice something and it's like you want to jump through the screen and be like, hey, and talk to him while he's putting it together to tell him that he forgot something. But, all right, so we got that together. There's this little manifold spacer or whatever that is, goes in there. All right, so we're good there. I think now is going to be a good time to put that breather in here since it's wide open. Plastic tube. Actually, let's get this on first. Could have just put it over the other end, but in case I forget. Okay. It looks like this just clips in the top. Like so. And that's just going to hide up in there and go through this hole right here. Might be easier said than done. All right. So that looks good. This gasket looks fine. That's going to go back up on here. We've got our two hoses here. Appear to be in good shape. All right. Let's put this piece in that I forgot to put in. It's almost like that metal piece is there to stiffen that side to prevent that from breaking. Now see, if they that metal bracket that we just put in here, if they molded an upright piece that got sunk into here and went underneath this bolt, so less plastic and had this metal bend up and then this bolt goes on the other side of this metal, so it was one piece, that would make sense. That's a good design. But you're strengthening everything down to here, but you still have this plastic from here to here that could break off. I mean, I guess, to me, it's probably built well enough. It wasn't so much that this should have been stronger and not broken. It broke because that broke. It's more that I think the design should be less inviting to grabbing. Put that spark plug cap back in. It should be less inviting to grabbing branches and stuff. Like I said in my previous video, I showed you the Husky and how that was designed, as well as many other trimmers for that matter. How there's really no big open gaps to catch on branches and things like that. Okay, so we're going to have to adjust this idle. What I'm going to do for now is put it about back where this one was. Should get us in the ballpark. A little too much. That's pretty close. Once we get her fired up, we can do the final adjustment on the idle. All right, so that's it for everything here. Get empty parts bags, all the broken parts. And all we have left to do is fix that trigger. So let's go ahead and put this back together now. I'm going to give these a couple of tightenings because these are screwing into those little spacers right here that we pushed in. They're screwing in from this side, so the tighter I make this is going to make those draw inside of the plastic. So I don't know if you noticed, but when I pushed them in, they still had a little bit more they could have went down. So we can make those seat all the way by tightening these screws up here. I actually can feel it tightening up now. All right. Good, nice and tight. Let's put our air filter back on. Oh, you know what? In the first video, I realized the pre-cleaner was pretty filthy, and I never cleaned that. Let me give that a good cleaning. All right, that's better. Stained, but it's clean. All right, that stage of the repair is done. That gives you another view. Actually, this is still going to pop back in here. But that gives you another view of all the openings and areas that can get caught and broken off. I guess they did tuck that throttle cable in up against the body pretty well. It's not too bad. That probably just broke because this whole unit fell off. But we'll see. All right, let's take this handle apart. I've already taken it apart once to find out what was wrong. And I put the cable back into the little notch that's supposed to be in. But because there's a little piece of it missing, you know, the little cable end goes in here and then slides through this and comes out this way. And because this part of the plastic is missing, as you'll see, there's nothing to retain it from just sliding out this way. And it worked for a couple of minutes and then just fell right apart. I actually put a little zip tie just to hold it until the parts came in. But looks like that came undone. Now I will give Echo some credit as far as ease of working on it. Nothing was too bad to, as you can see, you know, they kind of keep the bolts the same. You know, any bolts that are in here are pretty much 10 millimeter, and then you've got this T, I think it's a T25. Of course, it doesn't say it. It says everything but the size. Oh, there we go. Yeah, T25. Alright, so this cover comes off. And now you can see what the problem is here. Now this is the new trigger that goes around the shaft, and then up here, right here is where the cable is supposed to go in here. And you can see the broken piece right here. It's actually still down in the handle. So basically that piece right there broke off right there. So to get that off, appears to be screwed in here as well. Just slide this old one out. Okay, there's a spring in here too. I want to take note of how that is. That spring is held right up against that post right there. Let's pull this off. Okay, pretty simple. Transfer that right over. Oops. All right. Now we want to put, that looks like I probably should have done that first. All right. Now careful on these screws, there's different types of threads. There's a machine thread that's designed to go into a nut, and then there's the bigger thread, this one here on the top, is designed to go into plastic, has a little more bite to it. This is the thinner thread, so that's the one that goes in here. As you can verify from this one. Let's make sure it's in the same place that it was, right about there. That looks good. Because this is your hand control adjustment, these two screws here. You can actually access them when this cover's on. There's other holes right here, or here and here, so you can loosen those and actually twist your handle or slide it up and down a little bit if you needed to adjust it. Okay, let's make sure that cable's in where it's supposed to be. All right, what I don't like is there appears to be a little black wire behind there that's preventing this from going all the way in. I'm sure is the shutoff switch wire. And I don't think it's supposed to go in behind that cable. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just not in all the way. Yeah, that's exactly the problem. Hold on. Let's loosen this up a little bit. These are the little things you want to watch out for, because one little thing like that is going to ruin your day when this machine stops working. There we go. Those wires got tucked behind the handle. Okay, that's much better. All right, now the outer handle. verify that the throttle cable is working. And that's it. 4 screws and we should be back in business. All right, guys, and there you have it. We're all set. I'm not going to start it up because A, I drained the fuel because I'm actually in my garage at my house, and it's pretty late at night, so I don't want to fire it up and make so much noise, but I'm sure it's fine. Only thing I'm going to need to do is just adjust that one screw right there, the idle. You know, get the right idle speed for it once I get it running. It might be all right the way it is, I don't know, but so we'll put some fresh gas in there, and our primer bulb's still working. That didn't get damaged, so everything else looks pretty good. We're back in business, I believe. And switch is operational, trigger's working. Yep, everything's in good shape here. So just make sure I tightened up all these other screws that I had apart the other day. Oh, that one was loose. Okay. One more here, not that it matters because that cracked. All right, good to go. So there's the carnage. Those are the pieces that all broke and all the plastic bags and the replacement parts. It was either, I think it was, might have been like $46 for all the parts, or plus shipping was 60, or maybe it was 38. Made it for 46, I don't know, 64, 46, something like that. Depends on where you buy these online. I didn't really shop around for prices. You know, one piece is 13 bucks, one is 12, one is, you know, I think the most expensive part was like $18. You know, this little spacer was like $1.30, and, you know, I ended up buying one that I didn't need, but no big deal. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So this was something that I missed, though. I would have had to reuse this if it didn't come with a new one. I didn't even realize there was one of those in there, but yeah, those are no good now. So if you ever need to work on one of these, now you know how to do it. All right, guys, thanks for watching.